what an absolute onslaught of conservative wins on bills this year. It has been absolutely incredible. I know a lot of people like to focus on the negative. You know, when you walk into the Sistine Chapel and you look up and you see like a missing tile, everybody focuses on the missing tile and doesn't look at the grandeur of the rest of the Sistine Chapel. But we're gonna focus. So there are obviously going to be some tough losses, and we're going to talk to somebody today about one of their tough losses. But the strides that have been made, even with some of the bills that we'll talk about later today. But these, I want to go through some of the bills right now that have just been huge wins, and these come at us in no particular order. But maybe, or at least maybe in the order of the wins. So, let's get to it. The first one was House Bill 93. This was touted as the school choice bill of the session. This provides a tax credit for those who are sending their child to a school other than public school, whether you're homeschooling, whether you're sending to private school or a co-op or something. So that's House Bill 93. Was signed by the governor. The mask bill, that was a huge win, right? Trying to get that mask bill through. That was House Bill 32, prohibiting mask mandates in Idaho. You've got all the tax bills that came through. One of them was House Bill 40, which lowered the income tax rate. You had Senate Bill 1001, which is the anti-SLAPP legislation, which protects you against frivolous lawsuits of defamation, libel, slander, that sort of thing. Even for our local governments, House Bill 172 allows city council people to look at the agenda items on the agenda for that meeting and say, whoa, there's something on the consent agenda item that I think deserves a longer debate and maybe even some public comment. We need to pull that off the consent agenda. Now they're able to do that rather than have those things get rammed through. House Bill 97 dealt with emergency evacuations. You know how like during a crisis, they want you to evacuate your home? Well, this bill here says that you cannot force someone to leave their home if they feel compelled to stay and either protected or they feel more comfortable at home. I mean, this is individual rights. You should have that right. Senate Bill 1019 is the anti-swatting bill. This makes swatting a crime. If you're not familiar with the crime of swatting, it's when you call in a fake, you call 911 and you claim that there's like a fake crime happening at someone's house that's so crazy, you know, like someone's at gunpoint, somebody murdered their entire family, and then they send in the SWAT team to just bust through the door and arrest or kill anybody that they see. It's very dangerous, and you've heard it made national news lately. Is it 37? H37 moved firing squad up to be the primary method of execution in the state of Idaho. And I bring this one up because in addition to that, the death penalty for child sex crimes, for pedophiles, you know, child pedophile crimes, House Bill 380, that was also signed by the governor. So I've seen a lot of memes go around where it says in Idaho, if you're a child sex, you know, predator, you could be shot for that, shot to death. You know, you put those two together, it's like peanut butter and chocolate. H41, dealing with flags in schools. No more putting up of all the other different political and ideological and mafia type flags. No more trans flags, no more BLM flags, and no Gadsden flags. No, none of these things flying from the rooftops or in the classrooms out there. Let's see what else. Senate Bill 1007. This was particularly important. Senate Bill 1007. This bill removed a line in the statute that said that when school boards are having their meetings and when people show up for public comment, that they are not allowed to talk about anything that's not on the agenda. So if you went to your school board meeting and you wanted to bring some attention and some awareness to an issue that happened within your school, they could have prevented you from speaking out during a public school meeting if it wasn't on the agenda. And this is highly important. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've encountered or even participated in bringing something to light that otherwise would not have gotten the attention. It would have just been like shouting into the wind. Like nobody would have heard it. It would have just been like backfilled somewhere else. So this is a very important bill for not only for your First Amendment free speech rights, but for notifying the rest of the community about something that may or may not be going on in your school district. So very important bill. That was signed by the governor. All of these are now law, folks. These are the wins that we're talking about here. They're all wins. House Bill 59, the Medical Defense Act. This allows, Medical Ethics Defense Act. This says that you can't force doctors or people in practicing medicine to perform procedures that go against their conscience. I mean, imagine forcing a doctor to partake in a procedure or a treatment that goes against their not only maybe even their Hippocratic what do they call it, the Hippocratic oath, right? Going against that, but going against their moral conscience, whether it's religious or just their own beliefs. Very important bill. House Bill 270 was signed by the governor. This deals with the indecent exposure, updating the indecent exposure law because we live in crazy land. We live in a clown world now. We're out in Nampa, Idaho. They had a pride parade, and men were showing off their brand new female breasts to the public. So can't do that anymore. House Bill 304 is a property tax bill that seeks to help reduce your property taxes. Now, remember, the legislature, they can't lower your rates on property taxes. The only thing that they can do is provide more money to the counties and the cities so that they don't have to come to you for property taxes, right? To cover their costs down there. So it's a big mess here in Idaho that the legislature really can't do much except just, say, okay, we'll pay for the school facilities or we'll pay for school maintenance so you don't have to impose levies. Big wins there. Senate Bill 1046. This teaches children in school how babies are formed in the womb, right? So that we're better informed about what goes on inside. You hear young people walking around saying, "Oh, it's just a clump of cells." It's just a clump of cells. It's just goo that's going on inside the mother's womb. No, it's more miraculous than that. It's an amazing process, and now that's going to be put into our curriculum in our schools. That children will learn the most recent, up-to-date, scientific, scientifically backed curriculum on how humans develop in the womb. It's incredible. I keep going to my womb, but I don't have a womb. I was in a womb once, but I don't have a womb. Senate Bill 1034. This deals with allowing foster parents to protect their homes and their family by not having to be succumb to extra rules when it comes to their Second Amendment rights and the firearms that they store in their home. I'm going to go through these quickly, guys. Senate House Bill 264, preventing men from claiming they're women and going into women's prisons or juvenile centers or in higher education, like protecting women inside their private spaces, whether they're in women's prisons, whether they're in juvenile detention centers, whether they are in college and higher ed. I mean, huge wins signed by the governor. Campus free speech. This is a bill that House Bill 240 that Representative Barbara Ehart has been trying to get through the legislature for years and years. And this year, boom, signed by the governor. H345. This was the Medicaid expansion bill that sought to rein in. This was hotly debated because you had some people thinking that it was going too far, and then you had people thinking that it was not going far enough. This was putting guardrails on Medicaid expansion, which I think now our Medicaid costs in this state has gone over $5 billion. A lot of it your federal tax dollars, but another, I don't know, $500 million or so added on through the Idaho budget. So this thing is just ballooning, and 345 seeks to try and rail it in, but we need to do more. We need to do more. We could also even just maybe get rid of Medicaid expansion. How about that? Senate Bill 1027 says you cannot deny somebody a bank account. You can't just cancel their banking accounts because you disagree with their political beliefs or their religious beliefs. So many things here. We're gonna get to more of them in a minute, but we're gonna take just a short break. When we come back, we're going to have our guest here with us, Melissa Radford. She had a bill, Senate, if you want to bring this up on your own tablet there, Senate Bill 1162. It died on the Senate floor, but there is such an amazing history with this bill because it was really driven through even to this process by a couple of great folks that we're going to talk to just next. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
That's exactly what happened. You want to pull the tape? You can pull the tape because we now got video.